Okay, in this short tutorial, I'm going to show you what can happen and what to look out for with what I call drill pressure. And several years ago, after I'd been several years in the trade, I had a plate set up, and it wasn't that big of a plate. It was probably 12 inches by 6 inches, 1 inch thick. So it was hanging out of my vise, maybe 3 inches on the side, and I had to drill some half inch holes. It was on parallels. Vise was tight. And the drill might have been a little dull, but it wasn't squeaking or anything. It didn't look dull when I put it in. And I was shocked that I had actually um, pushed the part crooked. The pressure from the drill, which I wasn't feeding that hard, had actually tipped the plate in the vise, in a Kurt vise. Very unusual. So over the years now, I've learned to stabilize my parts if they don't look quite right. And you got to get an eye for this. But here's a part I had today. Very tall part, and it's sitting in there. This is half the Kurt vise down in here, so it's at 2.5 inches there. So of course, if you have a Kurt vise, you can't put anything in the middle unless you put a parallel, because it's just casting into there. Well, I put this up against the stop on the left. You'll see it in the next slide. But before I drilled, I said, I'm really not holding on to that much. This is about an 8-inch tall part, and even though I've got to drill these two holes, I was afraid I could tip it to the left. So, it only takes a second to throw a jack under there. And I know this looks obvious now, but, I wouldn't have thought about this years ago hadn't I moved apart. So here's a side view of it. And again, you can see this part's long and tall, and I was just afraid that this pressure from this drill could tilt it, because I'm not hanging on to that much of it. And here's a good view of the jack. And again, you can see the stop is over here. That's why I slid this surface against the stop. And I just thumb screwed that up just lightly. It doesn't have to, be dead tight. It's just thumb screwed up with thumb pressure, and you can see that the jack is sitting in the middle of the bed of the Kurt vise. But I just want to let you know, keep an eye out for stuff like this. If don't have a lot to hang on to, or your parts hanging out of the vise a lot, and you're drilling out here, throw a jack under it. You can actually move your parts, and I've never moved another part since I learned that lesson. Okay. So I'm Phil Kernan, the Tool and Die Guy, with another use for jacks to support and level your work and keep your parts from moving. Okay, we'll see you on the next video.